Hey guys, welcome back to JavaScript tutorial. This is Sharful. In this lecture we're going to learn objects in JavaScript, how to create an object in JavaScript, and also how to access object properties in JavaScript. So what is object in JavaScript? So object is a non-primitive data type in JavaScript. So we know this data types usually in programming language. Two types is primitive and other non-primitive. Primitive is one, the regular data types we know. Inbuilt data types comes from the programming language, which is like integers, string, boolean, all are primitive data types. But object in JavaScript is a non-primitive data types. So JavaScript objects are like containers or variables, so what hold properties or methods or both. So objects in JavaScript, it's like a container, or you can say variable. So what it does, the variable is it's used to hold some data. So similarly, objects is used to hold some properties or methods, or could be both. Properties and method both can be hold, or both can be used to hold a variable, which is an object in JavaScript. So object properties are written as key value pairs. So now we have to know what is properties. Like we know this the objects used to hold properties or methods. So we know the method, which are function, which does some specific job. But what is properties? So the properties are written as a key value pairs separated by commas. A key is a string, so key would be the string, also called a property name. So key would be the property name, or it will be some sort of just a name, and it would be as a string, and the value would be anything. So the properties, the value would be anything, could be like integer, could be string, whatever the value. If value could be any type of but the property would be just a key. A key is a part of the property. Key and value is together, we'll call property. So key would be anything name, and the value could be anything for that specific the key. Say example, you can say first name, and the value is like a John. So the first name, this is the key, and the John is a string type of value for this first name. That's one simple example. So next is, as we know, it can have function as a property. So it's not only the property, it's just key value. There is a the JavaScript object also can hold method, which is also called function, we know. So as we know, it can have function as a property or member, which is known as a method of that object. So object used to hold property, which is key value pair, as well as it can hold a method, which is we all know method is nothing, it just create, which is also called function, create to do some specific job. So object can hold both properties or method, or properties method both together. So how to create an object in JavaScript? So in JavaScript, to create an object, we can follow, there is a two ways. So two options. So one is object, it's called object literal. Another one is called object constructor. So let's see the object literal. So what is object literal? The object literal is a simple way of creating an object using curly braces, opening and closing curly braces or brackets. You can include key value pair in these curly braces, where key would be the property or method name, right? Your key could be your property or method name, since Java object is used to hold property and method both. So your key could be anything, your property name or method name, and value will be, it will be value of that property, and your value could be any type, right? The value data could be any type, like integer, string, anything. So use comma to separate multiple key value pairs. Say here is an example, is a syntax. So we know this object is a variable, right? So to declare a variable in JavaScript, we can use var, then let construct. So we can use var, so your object name, whatever the name you give, equals to, this is your curly braces, opening and closing curly braces, and between opening curly braces, here is your first key colon your value. Second key, if you have a multiple key, then you can separate it, your key and value, by the comma. So so comma, your second key value for the second key, and a comma, your whatever the number of key you have, colons, and then your value, and so that's the very simple syntax to declare an object. So following the literal. So there is an example, object with multiple properties. So you can see I declare a variable which is name is person, it's a var, is a variable, and here is a opening curly braces and closing curly braces. Here is a the first property, key, first key is the first name colon, and this is a John is the value for the first name, right? First key, and it's a string type, that's why I use double quotation, and then another, and there's a comma, right? And then the last name, it's another key, the second key, and the value is do, and the age, this is third key, age is 50. So you can see there is three property key we used over here and separated by comma, and two of them value are a string, and another one is it's integer. So your value could be anything, right? The data type of the value could be anything. So this is a multi properties for a person object. So the object person in this example above has three properties, right? First name, last name, age, and the values are John, Doe, and 50, right? So next, object with properties and methods. So we know this object used to hold properties or method, or could be both. So let's see an example. To create an object, to declare how we can create an object with the properties and method. So here is again our the object name is person, and there is the key is first name, last name, and then ID, like John Doe, this is ID, and separated by comma. And then now I give another key, the full name. Okay, the key is this full name is the key, and what is the value? Value is the function. Okay, the function could be also could be as a value to a key. So this full name is another key, but the value is a function. So function, to create a function in JavaScript, you are going to if you don't know, we'll have a separate class for the function, but just for now, to create a function in JavaScript, you are going to use a function keyword. Okay, this is a function keyword, and then this is, you may have a parameter inside or not, and then this is a curly braces, body of the function, and we're saying returning this dot first name, then plus or concatenation, and there is a space, and then we say this dot last name. And so with this first name plus last name, we're returning this through this function, to this function. And what's the key of the function is full name. Okay, and this is the closing bracket, final closing bracket for our object. So here just notice that in a function definition, we use this keyword. This is a keyword or reserved word in JavaScript. So this refers to the owner of the function or person object. So this, it means it's referred to the the owner of the object. This refer to the object, or the object. What is the object? Object is a person. So this refer to the owner of the function. Who's the owner of the function? This object or person. So this is the person object. Indirectly you can say this refer to the object or person object. In other words, you can say this dot first name means the first name property of this object. So this dot first name means the first name, this first name. It means that this first name property of this object. So because this, by this keyword, this, it's referred to the person, and where this comes, and this first name, the first name is the key of this object. So so this dot first name, it means it's referring the key first name from the person object. Okay, similarly this dot last name means the last name from the person object. So it will replace the value of this dot first name will replace by the value of the first name key, which is John, and this last name will refer by the last name, the value of the last name. So this will be returned first name, there will be space, then plus there will be last name, and this will return to the function. So full name, this key have the value first name, the function which is the first name, and plus last name, right? So this is the way you can declare properties and method to a object of JavaScript, right? Next, so that was so up to now it was the first way, and this is the second way, how to create an object following constructor. So the second way to create an object is with object constructor using new keyword. So if you have programming the coding or any language knowledge like Java or any object oriented programming, this we use new is a keyword, and we use new keyword to create an object of a class. Okay, so here we're saying we're going to use a new keyword new keyword to create an object with the object constructor. Okay, and you can attach after you create the object of a object of a variable, right, of a JavaScript, then you can add some properties, because your object needs some properties. At least it needs some properties, or you can add both properties and method. As we know, that's the reason we create the object. So you can attach properties and method using dot notation. So we're going to use dot notation to attach some properties and methods to that specific object what we created by the object constructor using new keyword, right? And you can also create a property using this brackets, this bracket, what is called, I think so, third bracket, and a specified property name as a string. So you can attach properties and method using dot or we can use this bracket. So let's an example. So create object with new keyword. So first we use a new keyword and then the object, right? And this whole thing we put in a variable name is person. So the person is a object. Okay, the person is an object. So now we're going to attach some properties to this person object. So how we can attach it? So we are going to attach, we said you can attach properties and method using dot notation. So let's see. So person, your object name, right? The person dot whatever the key name is, would be first name, and then equals to the value, like whatever you say, James. Okay, so this is the first way that you can use the dot to attach some properties to your object, or you can use this bracket. So your object name, like a person, then bracket, and it should be a string. The bracket property should be a string. So this is the property name is last name, and following the string equals to the value of the properties, which is a bond, right? And then so same way your properties object name is person dot age, another property equals to 25. And also the same way we can attach another key, which is get full name. Your object name dot get full name equals to, we can attach a function, like we declare a function. The similar way we return this dot first name plus concatenation this dot last name. So it will return first name and last name from where? From here, right? The first name is James and last name from here, right? So this is the way we can attach properties and method to an object, following object constructor using new keyword. Okay, so now we have seen how to create an object following two different method, following two different process. Now how to access? Now you have a object, and in the object have the properties as well as method. Now how we're going to access the properties and method from an object. So we can access object properties in two ways. The very simple, object name dot property name. So this is very simple way, object name dot property name, or you can say object name in bracket and then the property name in a string format. Okay, example, in our previous example we have seen that our object was person and there is a property was first name, right? So we can say object person, which is a person, dot our first name, the one of the key, right? Property name, the property name, one of the property name was first name. So if you say person dot first name, it should return James. Or we can say person and in bracket the last name in a string format, then it will return Bond. So both, you can follow any one of the the syntax, like object name dot property name or object name in a bracket, your property name in a string format. And the number two, how we can access the method if you have a method as a property in your object. So object name, same again, object name dot method name, very simple. In our last example we have seen, right, you have seen we have a one of the, over here we have one of the method name, one of the properties, it's called get full name. This is the key, but it is returning a method, so it's the value is method, right, or function. So get full name, same way if we want to call that method, get access that method, so you will use our object name dot method name, which is person is the object, dot method name was get full name. So it will return whatever it's returning this by this method, like James Bond. Okay, so pretty much that's all the theoretical information or document, like about what is object, how to create object, what is properties, what is method, how you can access your properties as a key as well as the method. Now let's see a real life example of an object. In a real life, a car is an object. You can just visualize a car is an object. A car has properties like weight, color, and a method like stop, some function like start, stop, brake, so you can say your car is an object, and the properties, so like your car could have a name like Toyota, like a Nissan, whatever the name. So car dot name is one of the property, right, one of the key, and the value is the name, like fade, whatever it is. And then car could have a model, so that is another properties, like your key is a model and the value is 500, right? Your car can have a weight, so this is another key or property, and the value is 850 kg. And also car, and also color, the car have a color, so this is another property of your car, and which is a key, one of the key, and the value is white. And car have some function, right? Function is again is some method. Method is does some specific job, because car could have a start, right? It is one of the function of the car, the start. So your object name is car dot your start is the function name. One of the property is a start function. Another one is like a drive, so car dot drive. Car dot brake, that's another function. So car dot stop is another function, right? So car, we can imagine car is a pure real life example of an object where it can have some properties as well as it can have some methods. Okay, so let's go to our some real coding. So let's go to our play code, right? So play code, we can have some simple example we have learned. So first we're going to create an object with multiple properties, right? So we create an object, give a name, object name is person, we have seen in our example, and it has some property like first name, last name, separated by the comma, and this is the value of the first name, last name, and age is 50. So now if I want to access, as I said, like if you want to access any one of your properties, how are you going to access your object name? This is like person dot your the property name or the key of the property. Say first name, this is the first name. So if you want to print this one, right, we can say console.log, so we can print this one, right? So you can say here it should return John, and this is our console. If you want to see over here in our the live output or the browser, we can use document.write, because we know this document is the default object of JavaScript. What can call any object, anything, any object of your web element. So we are going to use the document to see some real life output in your browser. So this part is the real life the browser output. So document.write, and then we can say person.firstname. The same way you can see it should be here. John also should be here. You can see John is at the bottom, right? So John is output over here. So this is an example of multiple properties of an object, right? So in the same example we can add another method. So object with multiple properties and method, right? So let's add another method. So over here I'm going to add another method by a comma, separated by the comma. So I will give a property name, say the key name, like full name, right? Full name, then colon. So your result would be, our value would be the function, right? So I'm going to add the body of the function. So here, so I'm going to say return. So I'm going to return what I'm going to return using this keyboard, the keyword, this dot. I'm going to use this dot first name, then concatenation, and then let's put a space, empty space, then this dot last name, right? And then semicolon. That's fine. Okay, so this is another key for or property for the same object, and I add this property. The value of this property is a function. So this is a function, and where it's returning first name plus last name, right? That should be. And then now if I call, if I want to call this method, right? If I want to call this method, what would be? So same way we're going to say console dot log, so we're going to say what's your our object name is person dot your function name. What's our function name? Our function name is full name, right? Function name is full name, right? Here we go. So this it's printing function is full name, so I'm calling this the full name since it's a function, so we have to add the function sign, and then this will returning this first name plus last names, which is the John Doe. Okay, the same way if we want to if I want to see in our browser, in our live view, so where we can use the same thing over here, person, right? Here we go. Maybe we put it extra. Yep, here we go, right? You can see John Doe over here. So this is another example where we use multiple properties with the method, and also this is the way you can access any properties, any key, or any method. Okay, so that's the very very basic, and I think fundamental and very easy example of an object in JavaScript. What is an object, how to create an object, and also different properties also how to access the object, and also some real life example, like we give a car example. I think that's it's a very helpful, the idea that can clear your the object idea or basic idea about the object in JavaScript. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned. There's a lot to learn. If you like our tutorial, please subscribe our channel and share with others. Have a good one. Bye bye.